Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find that this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So, first of all, chosen, I want to tell you all how strategic the powers that were are trying to be in the last days of their uh, existence. These beings have been very, very mindful and watchful of us specifically from the very beginning, but they have been watching us far more closely since we have entered into the age of Aquarius, especially since around the time of 2020, a little bit prior to 2020 and up until this point. These beings have been listening to a lot of the things that we have been discussing, whether you're putting it on your social media, whether you're discussing it with someone over the phone. Of course, they have the technology now where they can practically tap in on everything that you're doing with the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. They might tell you that it doesn't have that type of access, but it most certainly does, because these beings, they want to control everything about your existence. So with that being said, they know that we know. Okay. They know that we know the agenda. They know that we are fully aware of what they have been conspiring behind the scenes. They know that we are fully aware of how they got into their position of power, how they've been able to maintain it, what they had to do to us and our ancestors and, the humanity in order to enhance their wealth and their power and the illusions and their spell work. They know that we know about their deities, the rituals, the human sacrifices, the pedophilia, the trafficking, the siphoning of energy. They know that we know, y'all. And I'm going to tell you how they know is because now they are starting to become far more bold with putting it right there in your face so that there is no question that what you have been speculating is the truth, but they're trying to use a curveball here. Okay. What they're doing is they're trying to work on the minds of those who are still in a sleep state and those who are partially awakening. Okay. So if you still are like half asleep, half awake, or if you're completely asleep, then their tactic right now is to put it right there in their face so that when they see it on these movies and in these TV series and, through music videos and things of that nature, when they see the truth right there in their face, they'll look at it as being entertainment rather than the truth. That way, by the time they gain access to that truth, most people will question, those beings who are still asleep now, they will question whether or not this is fallacy, if it's conspiracy, if people are reading too far into what they're seeing in the media, that's where they want people to be right now. I literally just got done watching a program. Shout out to the person who referred it to me in the comments, because I've been decoding revelations for the past few days. And you all know, if you've been watching my channel for a minute, a lot of my older videos 2 and 3 years back, I was speaking directly on the curses in Deuteronomy, how all of that was written by man, and the blood sacrifice, the human sacrifice of Yeshua, and how they turned that all around and made it into a deity, pretty much hijacking his identity, turning it into a deity for the world to worship, to enhance their power. We've spoken directly about the baptisms and how that's also a ritual, and just so many different things that have been coming out over the last few years that the Most High has placed into my spirit to bring directly to you all. Especially how they've been selling souls, taking people's souls and using it to feed it to the beast of Babylon to enhance their power. All of these things have come out over the past few years, and I have brought these messages to you all on my channel. Most of you received it and understood exactly what was being revealed. And while others, who wasn't quite ready, shunned it. but there was very few who shunned the information because many of you have received very similar downloads. Okay. Now, I watched this TV program and I'm not trying to promote it, but I do want you all, for those of you who are more curious to know what I'm talking about, there's this program, a series on Netflix right now called Chaos, Kaos. Now, I just got done watching this, and this particular program, they literally, everything that I have been speaking about on my channel, they packaged it all up and pushed it right back out through this series. Okay. Why? Because what they want to do is they want to desensitize the world. All right. They want to desensitize the world into thinking that, no, if it was true, then why would they put it out there for the world to see? Why would they be so bold to just put it in your face like that? Well, guess what? This is the time of the reveal. But see, what they're trying to do, they think they're smart. They want people to see it as entertainment, not as truth. So even though the truth is right there in your face, if you could see it as strictly entertainment, when you do receive that vision or that understanding of the truth, some people will reject it because they'll say, well, no, maybe it's not true because I saw it on TV. So it could just be embellished, fallacy. People could just be reading into TV too hard. And, that's where the powers that were stand right now. That's their tactic of illusion. But the fact of the matter is, this is the second TV series that I have seen where they keep saying chaos is coming. Chaos is coming. All of this is being thrown in your face because this is what's happening in real time, but they want to try to make it seem as if they're not as concerned about the impact of you awakening, chosen. They want to try to make it seem as if it's something that they don't have to worry about. Like they're still in power. They're still in charge. They're not fazed by it. That's how they're trying to come off, unfazed, by putting it in your face on TV and in movies. But the fact of the matter is, your awakening is their demise. Literally, your awakening is their demise. You removing yourself from their religious structures, you no longer praying to their deities and giving all of your spiritual energy to them, you no longer keeping your mouth shut, because in this particular series, they had a melanated woman who they called a prophetess. Pretty much she was a seer. And they cut her tongue out. But she was able to predict the future. They had a few women who they cut their tongue out, but the melanated woman, they pretty much kept her at the forefront as the prophetess or as the seer. And so this is what they have done over the last few hundred years. Redirect your attention towards their deity, their God, while you completely abandon your own spiritual practices and beliefs, and remain silent without speaking your truth openly, afraid of judgment by others. It's the same thing that they have done to us for far too long, for generations, actually. And so now, just be mindful of the programs that they're putting out, because it's regurgitating everything that you already know, but it's all in an attempt to make you question yourself. And to make you think, only someone who was very much so asleep would fall for this particular trick of the hand, right? Because you all are you're too awakened. You know what they're doing by putting it straight in your face, because they're worried about those who are still in the process of waking up. They're more concerned about those who are still straddling the fence. And so that's why they put it out there for those particular people, in hopes that it will sway them into seeing it more as being entertainment and illusion rather than truth, okay, and reality. So we got to keep on speaking, keep on putting the messages out there, keep on communicating with those who are ready to receive this knowledge and wisdom that's being downloaded into your spirits, chosen, because the enemy They're having a hard time letting go, but at the same time, they are acknowledging in this particular series, they are acknowledging that their time is up. But again, it's a trick of the hand to try to make you believe that they don't truly believe that. And for them, it's just entertainment. They're unfazed, but that is the furthest from the truth because they no longer have our energy to siphon. In this particular series, it was talking about how they are stealing the souls of man. They would have people who would voluntarily become their human sacrifice, and they would end up in the underworld. And in the underworld, there's supposed to be this portal that they're supposed to cross over into, that's supposed to take them into the so-called heaven that they would have been promised while they were still on earth if they was the willing human sacrifice for these so-called gods. It speaks on Zeus and Olympus and, all of these different so-called Greek gods, right? And what they find out when they get to the underworld is that when they pass over into this portal, rather than it taking them to this heaven that they was promised, it actually takes them into this place where they completely go and take their souls and they're just stuck, frozen in place for eternity. Okay. But the so-called gods in the series start to get afraid because they're like, hold on. And the gods, of course, represents the powers that were. In the series, they begin to get afraid because they start to say that there's not enough people believing in them anymore. So you have a whole bunch of people that's going around saying, F the gods, F the gods. And so now there's this uproar. These gods are starting to realize they're not immortal because they're only immortal as long as they're able to feed on the souls of the people who are voluntarily giving their energy away to them because of their, these false illusions and their beliefs in these gods. And so the powers that were are very afraid. Where now in the series, they're starting to scramble saying, well, what are we going to do in order to prolong our time? Because the mortals, the humans they no longer respect them. They no longer, freely give their energy and their spiritual prayers and all of these things to them. And so now they're scrambling, trying to come up with ways. So they just put this out in 2024, y'all. And if you recall, earlier in the year when we had the solar eclipse, if you go back to, you got to go back probably about a good 30 messages or something like that. When I was talking about the solar eclipse, I was showing you all clips of another series that I was watching at that time where they kept saying chaos is coming. And in that particular series, they was putting strong emphasis on the solar eclipse and a particular deity. This particular deity that they was talking about in the show called a series called Theodosia. I was watching that. It was revealed to me prior to the solar eclipse, but it literally came out around the same time because my spiritual team needed me to see that. It was very, very, very important. And I told you all about this. I'm going to leave the link below as far as the clip that I showed you all and how I broke that down and how it related to the solar eclipse and how the powers that were was trying to use that energy to do a lot of their magic at that time, as well as what they're continuing to do now. But they kept talking about the so-called deity by the name of Apep, and come to find out the rocket ship that they were sending up at the same time as the solar eclipse was called Apep. And so my spiritual team showed that to me prior, and then they came out and started saying this rocket ship was called a PEP, and I was able to put it all together. And it blew my mind to see how they keep putting these things in our faces to let us know exactly what they're up to. But it's up to us as the chosen seed to combat that energy and to put out into the universe while they're doing their spell work. We're putting out into the universe that we do not accept or receive it. Because see, for these beings, as long as they put it in your face, they think that you give them permission to carry out the agenda against you as long as they told you ahead of time. And so even though they're not outright telling you, hey, this is our truth, this is exactly what we're doing behind the scenes, they leave it up to you to sort through and to understand the so-called mysteries behind what they're saying pretty much indirectly or directly. Okay. This particular series that I'm talking about right now, though, prior to Theodosia, the one that I'm watching now, not Theodosia, but the one that I have watched recently called Chaos, which is similar though, because Theodosia, they kept saying chaos is coming all throughout that series. They kept saying chaos is coming. They kept speaking on their deity Apep. And it was just so much about using the dark Egyptian magic to work against humanity. And so with this other series called Chaos, Kaos, they're doing the exact same thing, except they're even more blatant, like even more blatant about what they've been doing behind the scenes. It's right there in your face. And it just blew my mind when I was watching it, because every revelation that the Most High has given me about these people, they packaged it up and put it right back out there on a series to reaffirm and confirm everything that the Most High has revealed to me, that I have also in turn brought on my channel, so that, you all can be up to date on the spiritual downloads that I'm receiving. And we could also, many of you leave comments where you're like, okay, this is what I'm experiencing. So we all putting the puzzles to the piece together, but we don't just gather information. We will be foolish to just take the information and just use it as a measure of discussion. No, we are spiritual warriors out here. And so when we learn what these beings are up to, we start calling judgment. We declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is now cast upon all of these gods and deities that they keep on conjuring up, all of the souls that they have continued to take from humanity to use to feed their beast in order to enhance their power. We call judgment on these beings. We don't just sit on our hands and say, oh, wow, that's crazy that they doing that. That would be foolish. We possess too much power to just let it slide like that. But that's what they're hoping to do, y'all. They want to desensitize humanity by putting it in your face. And they figure the more they put it in your face, the less you'll have to ponder, well, is this what's going on behind the scenes? Is that what's going on behind the scenes? Because if they put it right there in your face, then you'll start to question, well, maybe it's not true, because they wouldn't just put it out there directly if it was true. Now, it's all a trick of the hand. So we got to definitely be mindful of the games that the enemy is playing right now and keep on putting that truth out there. I'm just glad that the messages were already placed on my channel over the last few years, so that no one can come in who's just now waking up and say, oh, she just taking that from a show. She just watched that on a TV show. And so now she's, taking it too far and reading too far into TV. You need to go turn the TV off. No, go back and look at when they started placing these series out there, and look at when I received my spiritual downloads, and you'll be able to see, no, this is the truth. But these beings want to feed you. They want to feed it to you directly in your face so that you'll question it. So check out the link to the older message that I did this year, closer to the solar eclipse, so that y'all can see the similarities. And if you feel guided, if you really want to see what I'm talking about, go and check out that series on Netflix, because they're in the process of making another series, because right now they only have about 8 or 9 episodes, because they just made this year. So that's how you know they're listening to us. They know that we know. Okay. So that's my message. If you have anything to add, if y'all have any movies or shows that y'all feel would add to the decoding of revelations, or what's being spoken about here on this platform, or any of your own clarity that you want to add to the conversation, put it in the comments below. I love to hear from you all. Like and subscribe. I love you, and I'll talk to y'all next time.